welcome back to On the Fly. Today we're taking a trade between the St. Louis Blues and the New York Rangers. So the Blues do receive Sammy Blais, Hunter Skinner, a conditional 2023 first-round pick, and a 2024 fourth-round pick with the condition of if the Rangers do make the playoffs this year, it'll turn to a third. The condition on the first-round pick will be if the Rangers have the higher pick. Right now the Rangers have two picks, Dallas and the Rangers' original first-round pick this year. Whichever one is the lower of the pick will be the first pick that will be sent to the Blues in this deal. And in exchange for what is very interesting to see with Vladimir Tarasenko headed off to New York with Niko, Mikkola. And in this deal, it's definitely one that is not typically seen this time of year. Obviously, we've seen throughout the last little while that Tarasenko has not necessarily been content in St. Louis, and to be honest, the Rangers are an absolute great fit for a guy like Tarasenko with the 50% retained. It was very interesting to see that because obviously with the Blues not necessarily going for the playoffs this year, we can see that now. They're starting to head towards that rebuild. A lot more players, I think, still have to be moved for the Blues before they can consider themselves rebuilders. But at the same time, they might do sort of a conservative sell, and we'll see sort of, especially as we head towards the March 3rd deadline, what goes on there with the Blues. And in terms of the Rangers, I think this is two great pickups today with Niko, who will sort of fit in alongside that bottom six pairing. Might be probably second or third defensive pairing, but he'll play every game for the Rangers, I expect. And one of the big reasons for that, 6'4" defenseman, absolutely huge, long reach, much like Keontae Miller, who they very much do like in the Rangers system. So we'll see sort of where that takes them if, of course, the Rangers are going to make another big move. They still have a first-round pick that whichever one isn't going to be picked, which will be the higher one. So it's going to be interesting to see if they go all out this year. The Rangers definitely have the ability to do so. They are right now third in the Metropolitan as at the time of making this video. So we'll see if they are going to make a big move, big splash to help them sort of propel them into the playoffs and really make a big statement this year in the playoffs. With Tarasenko going to be on that first line, Zibanejad, Panarin, going to be definitely fun to watch. The one thing I will note about Tarasenko, one of the reasons why the value isn't necessarily as high as it probably would have been, say, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Tarasenko's had the same injury 3 times now with his shoulder. So we'll see sort of if he can keep that together. And one of the big reasons also is because of his production. It has gone down from what it once was. He's not necessarily putting up, 35-plus goal seasons anymore. He did last year, 38, but at the same time, this year hasn't necessarily been his year. So we'll see if he can turn that around in New York. Obviously, they're going to be using him a lot more than St. Louis. So we'll see sort of what goes on there. As for the Blues, Sammy Blais, you won't really see him too much, I don't think. Maybe a fourth, third-line guy every once in a while that'll crack the lineup. Hunter Skinner, prospect, fourth-round pick last year. So we'll see whether he's going to be able to transition into the St. Louis Blues system, whether or not he'll be a future candidate. I don't really think he's that big part of this deal. The first-round pick, however, is, especially in a loaded draft class this year as it is. I am definitely curious to see which pick it's going to be. I do expect the Rangers to make the playoffs. The Stars are leading the Western Conference right now, so they'll also have a very good pick. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on there. And finally, with the fourth conditional round pick, we'll see if that turns into a third. I would expect it to after this trade. The Rangers looking very poised to make at least make the playoffs, if not a deep playoff run, which I would expect from the Rangers this year. But you got to remember, it's also a very tough Eastern Conference this year in general. When you look at the Atlantic, you have Boston, who's been on an absolute tear recently, the Leafs, who are always dangerous, Tampa, who's always dangerous, and you'll have to play one of those. The wild card, you never know who's going to be in there. It could even be a team like a Florida, who's also looking very good. And then in the Metropolitan, it's anybody's game. You have the Islanders, who just picked up Horvat. You have, obviously, the Rangers, who are looking really sharp. Carolina, who always looks good. Pittsburgh, who you can never count out. So in the Metropolitan, in the Atlantic, and the Eastern Conferences in general, definitely going to be tough competition this year to get out of, and especially as they move towards, I would place my bets early on the Eastern Conference team winning the Stanley Cup. Just a matter of who can get there first. But in terms of trade grades for this deal, a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me here, but I'm actually going to give a B+ to the St. Louis Blues. I think they made the right call in terms of it. 50% retains a little much, but at the same time, you're going to lose Tarasenko anyway. I would have liked to seen them hold out a little bit longer, seeing if they could have got a better deal, but at the end of the day, I think that no movement clause on Tarasenko's contract, Tarasenko basically had the say of wherever he went. I think this is yet another example of why you should never put a no movement clause on a contract. This one right here is why they probably got the best return they could have. But at the same time, in terms of the Rangers, I love this deal. I think they picked up two really good assets that are going to definitely help them along the way. You get a cheap return. First round pick, the lower one, you're looking at a 25 plus pick in terms of where it's going to be. I love this deal for the Rangers. I think they definitely deserve the A plus. Very rare I give out A pluses, but I think this deal is one of them. Tarasenko+Mikkola, both assets are going to help them very much in their near future. But with that being said, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. If you'd like to drop a like, if you really like, consider subscribing. Tell all your friends and comment down below your thoughts on the trade. Until next time, see ya.